Welcome to today's episode of Today We Learn USB Rubber Ducky. I'll be covering what a rubber ducky is, and no, not this type of rubber ducky. A USB rubber ducky is an HID device, or human interaction device, that replicates a keyboard when plugged in. It'll then execute malicious code onto your computer, typing in as if you were typing on your keyboard. Now this is important. It enables hackers to utilize your file systems, your web camera, access anything on your computer, steal it, send it off, and then sell it, or use it in other bad ways, leaving you a sobbing mess. So how do you protect yourself from it, and how does it work? I'll be getting into that. At its base, a USB rubber ducky inputs for you as if you were typing on your keyboard. In this example I have in front of you, I have it type in Windows R PowerShell, and then begin typing into that PowerShell script. You'll notice that my example is pretty benign. In some cases it may not be, but this is the reason we do not grab any USB we find on the street and plug it into our computer, because you'll get something like this, and all of a sudden your files are compromised. So the first thing that you're going to want is an Arduino Micro, or another similar board with the AT32 Mega chip on board. The AT32 Mega chip allows it to be interacting as an HID device, so it recognizes a mouse or keyboard. And that's really the important part. You can get the official Arduino Micro board for $22.80. Some offer a cheaper version of it. So SparkFun has one called the Micro. This Vetco Electronics has one for $13.15. You'll find them ranging anywhere between $3 on Alibaba to the official sponsored Arduino $22.80. Not the cheapest, but again, you've got the brand name, you've got some extra bells and whistles, some headers. So pay for what you want, expect what you pay for. Ultimately, it's the chip that's important. Now, it's important to know that the Arduino Pro Micro that I talked about supports native USB HID, which enables the scripted automation of the commands. So the attack's not really exploiting any software vulnerabilities. It's really just kind of abusing that operating system trust in your HID devices, in your keyboard. So it basically treats your keyboard input as legitimate user input, even though it's coming from the micro. Alright, so for our micro, what we'll want it to do is a simple VBS demo. VBS is really just Visual Basic Script. It's a language developed by Microsoft. We're going to use that and the micro itself to open PowerShell, create that harmless VBS file in your downloads folder, execute the VBS file to display a message box, which is relatively harmless. It is harmless, let's be clear. And then close PowerShell cleanly. It'll just look like a pop-up appeared on your computer when you plug this USB in. Let's take a look at that. First, let's create an example VBS file so we can kind of understand better how they work and what we'll be asking our micro to do. So go ahead and create a new text file. Name it whatever you want. I'm going to name mine example. Go in and we'll edit it. Again, this is going to be written in VBS, so it'll look a little confusing if you've never used it before. This is my example BADUSB and VB information. And here we'll just give it a title. We'll call it Rubber Duck. You'll see this will pop up. It'll be a message box named Rubber Duck containing the message, "This is my example BADUSB." So we just change this to a .vbs and run it. See? Easy day, simple pop-up. Now again, we're going to be asking our micro to create this file and then access it when we plug it in. So now I've got my Arduino Pro plugged in, my Arduino Micro plugged in. I've got it plugged into COM9, I've got the drivers installed, I've got the Arduino IDE up. If you're not really sure what you're doing, if you've never dealt with Arduino IDE, if you don't really know what to do from there, I'll link a separate video after this. Follow along anyway, try to stay with me either way, because I'm going to be going over the code and kind of explaining how this works. Again, in my Arduino IDE, I'm including keyboard.h, that's just the library saying, hey, for this specific micro, I need this library to tell it that when I say things like keyboard.press, this is what activity to do. So you'll see in my setup, I wait for the USB enumeration, and then I hit Windows. For mine, keyboard left GUI on mine is Windows R, and then I release all. and then I hit PowerShell. So just type in PowerShell, return, wait for it to open. You'll see a lot of delays. Again, this is just my way of giving the computer time to process the commands I've told it to do. So I tend to add a lot more delays than I need, and I make them much longer than I need to. This is for educational purposes. If I wanted to, I could make this immensely fast. Again, I'm going to wait for PowerShell to open. I'm going to create that harmless VBS file. So first, I'm going to define that path. So this is going to be my path. The env user profile just goes to whoever is logged in during that current session. So if someone else is logged in, if you're logged in, it'll go to that user profiles downloads folder and create a demo.vbs. Hit return. Then we already saw this with the VBS. I'm going to do that message box. I use these slashes to escape the quotation marks. This is a harmless BADUSB lab test. Give it that name and then output the file to that path that we specified earlier. I'm going to go ahead and close PowerShell here by typing exit and return. And then here again, we'll do Windows R. And this time we're going to actually call that VBS file that we said. And after that, it's pretty much done. So let's go ahead and let's push this to the Arduino. So you'll see it compiles, it's going to upload. Within a few seconds here, the Arduino will start acting out the script that we just pushed to it. So you'll see, there we go, PowerShell. It's going to go ahead and define that path now. Now that that path is defined, it output that VBS file to the path and closed itself. Now it's going to call that VBS script, and here we go. Demo. This is a harmless BADUSB lab test pulled up by itself just by plugging it in. I'm going to go ahead and without pushing anything, you'll see me. I'm just going to plug it back in here. And one more time, you'll see it just go ahead and execute the same file, the same code, same thing that we have. Now you're going to ask, oh, what if there's already a demo.vbs? Well, it's just going to overwrite that. It's not a big deal. All right, let's pause for a second to go over some security and safety issues. Only use BADUSBs on computers that you either own or have explicit permission to use. HID attacks, as you saw, happen pretty quickly, so test them in a controlled environment. You'll notice that I use the downloads folder. So use a folder that you know and recognize. Don't go dropping files in things like System32 or other important directories. If you don't know it, if you're not familiar with it, you could delete something or move something by accident. It's bad practice. Stay away from those. In a similar vein, don't try to add persistence. Don't modify security settings or network details using one of these. Just not a good idea. The purpose of this demo was education, awareness, and safe experimentation, not exploitation. I'm not going to teach malicious code. I'm a cybersecurity expert by trade. I've been doing this a long time. I have a master's in cybersecurity, so if you have any questions about anything that we've covered, please let me know. I'll reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer you. One of the things to note is that it's not always going to be in the Arduino Pro Micro form factor. That's fairly large. It could be hidden in something like a mouse, a keyboard. It could be hidden in a charging cable. Anything that you didn't order, didn't buy, shows up free. Maybe you got it at a job fair or found like a memory stick sitting around at a library. Don't plug it in. You don't know what's on it. Don't try to find out what's on it. It's generally not a good idea. That being said, our last lab was pretty benign. Let's make another very, very safe, benign lab, but we'll make it a little more fun. Instead of doing a single VBS script file, let's make a lot of pop-ups that show up and make it seem like the computer has been taken over. Again, this is safe. Nothing about this code that I'm about to show you is malicious in any way, shape, or form. You could run it on your computer without any real worries. That being said, modifications of this could eventually become malicious. Do not do it. I don't condone it. This is me officially saying, don't do that. Here we are back in the Arduino IDE. One of the things here is that we've again got keyboard.h, the library. You'll see me again waiting for setup. I do that same Windows R shortcut, enter PowerShell. I define a path. I'm going to use the same downloads folder. And this time I'm going to create a PowerShell script, a PS1. I'm going to set the content here. And this will all type into PowerShell. You will see it in real time, type in as you go. So I'm going to kind of slowly go through and talk about some of what's happening here in this code. So I'm basically adding in a form and drawing it up at runtime using PowerShell to define some of the characteristics that I want it to. They'll all look like that .vbs little alert. You'll see here that I go ahead and I iterate 30 times. So mine is going to have 30 of these little pop-up windows show up that say, hey, pop-up name, scary takeover, and on the inside, we're going to add some text here. It's going to be this tall, this width. It's going to say you've been hacked in bold. I'm added as an escape key here. So say when this is running, if you wanted to exit it or you wanted to exit at the end here, whenever I press escape using this line of code here in this block of code, it will close out. You can also close out because, again, I've designed this to run entirely in PowerShell. So if you just close PowerShell, all windows, that will take care of this. You won't have that problem again. It will stop. We're going to run it with the system Windows Forms application run. And again, this command will be PowerShell execution policy bypass file and then out to that path that we've defined, which for me was the downloads folder. So you'll see this in real time. I'm going to go ahead. I've already pushed this to my Arduino to test it. So I'll show you real quick what it looks like in its entirety. 1 second here. So again, you see it type in PowerShell. It's going to define that path. And you'll see it here start to define some of the values that I told it to for those pop-ups here. Everything from that IDE that you saw, that big block, gets put in here in PowerShell. I did that so that you can watch it in real time. If you wanted to, and then if an attacker wanted to, they could hide the PowerShell window while this is executing and typing out. So once again, you see that I've iterated it 30 times. It's going to go ahead and start to execute itself here. Close the PowerShell window. It has a slight delay. You can make it longer if you want to. And now I've got a bunch of windows across my screen that tell me I've been hacked. And that's it. That is the entirety of that BADUSB example. That was a more fun lab. Again, like you can make the delay a little bit longer, plug it into a friend's computer with their permission. You know, pretend, hey, look, I've got this funny mouse. And you can close all the windows if you want. You could also hit that escape key. I hope you enjoyed this lab. Alright, so hopefully you learned something from this video. You learned what a BADUSB or a rubber ducky is, how it works, why they're dangerous, and maybe if you had an Arduino sitting around or an AT32 Mega device sitting around, you made one alongside me. It's really simple to do. For those people who saw the Arduino IDE or a little bit of code and thought, no, I'm checking out, I get it. But really, I'm going to make another video on the Arduino IDE and basics of coding for Arduino. It opens up a whole new world of electronics, a whole new world of programming. It's a lot of fun, and it's really easy. A lot more so than you would think. So stay tuned for that. In a similar note, this is my first real YouTube video. So if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. If you would like more content like this, let me know down in the comments. If you have a question about anything that I covered today, let me know down in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer. This is what I do for a living. A lot of the stuff that I do is red teaming and black teaming oriented. So please let me know. I'd be more than happy to share some of that knowledge in a safe way. All right, this is Problematic. I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you for watching.